They said she was born invisible, not because she couldn't be seen, but because no one ever looked. Not the teachers, not the neighbors, not even the kids who sat 2 feet from her in class. But here's the thing about invisible girls. They see everything. And sometimes, just sometimes, they remember how to turn pain into power. This is the story of Callie Rae, the girl who collected broken crayons and built a life out of color. Callie was born in a rundown apartment 2 blocks from the train tracks in Dayton, Ohio. Her mother worked double shifts at a laundromat, and her father, well, he left before Callie learned to say Dad. They didn't have much. No internet, no cable. Dinner was often boxed mac and cheese, or nothing at all. At school, Callie never raised her hand. She wore the same shoes for 3 years, taped at the soles and scribbled on to hide the tears. The kids called her names. Patchwork, charity case, sometimes just asterisk that girl. Asterisk, she didn't talk much, but she watched. And every time someone was laughed at, pushed aside, or left behind, she took notes. Not in a journal. She couldn't afford one. But in her mind, in the quiet corners of her soul, where truth lives. One day, in 7th grade, everything changed. The school held a Future Leaders competition. Each student had to present a creative project that solved a problem in their community. Everyone expected the usual: posters, charts, speeches copied off the internet. But Callie had different plans. She didn't have a laptop or markers or even a proper printer, but she had a vision. For 2 weeks straight, she stayed up till midnight sketching with borrowed pencils. She used cereal boxes as project boards. And for glue, old rice paste her grandma taught her to make. When the presentation day came, the room was buzzing, kids giggling, teachers chatting. Callie stepped up. No fancy clothes, no slideshow, just a girl holding 3 pieces of cardboard and a fire in her eyes. She didn't speak loudly. She didn't try to impress. She just told the truth about how some kids don't eat lunch because they're embarrassed by food stamps, about how her little brother cried we got teased for hand-me-downs, about how her neighborhood had more liquor stores and libraries. Then she flipped over the cardboard to reveal her dream, the Sunrise Center, a community-run space where kids could eat, learn, and be safe after school. No judgment, no fees. She ended with a line no one forgot. They say kids like me don't dream big, but maybe we dream real. The room went silent. Then applause, the kind that starts slow and builds. Even the principal stood up. Callie didn't win the competition, but she won something better: attention. A local journalist covering the event wrote a small article. Asterisk, teen proposes hope where it's forgotten. Asterisk, the article went viral. People started asking, who is this girl? Donations began to trickle in. A city councilwoman offered to help her pitch the idea formally. A retired teacher offered her free mentoring. And for the first time in her life, people didn't look through her. They looked at her. But growth isn't a straight line. In high school, Callie faced backlash. Kids said she was pretending to be something she's not. Some teachers whispered that she was getting too much attention. She failed a math test, got rejected from her first internship, even considered quitting. But then she remembered all the kids like her, still invisible, still hurting. And she decided, if no one's going to open the door, she'd build her own. She doubled down, woke up at 5 a.m. to study, started volunteering on weekends, taught younger kids how to dream out loud. By senior year, she had raised enough funds to pilot her dream, a small after-school safe haven in the same apartment building where she grew up. She called it the Corner Light. Years passed. Callie Rae got into college on a full scholarship, majored in community leadership, and by 24, she was running 3 centers across Ohio, helping over 400 kids. But the moment that defined everything came when her old school invited her back as a keynote speaker. She stood on that same stage where she once stood with cardboard and fear. This time, the lights were on her. The crowd was waiting, and Callie smiled. She looked at the students, the loud ones, the quiet ones, the ones who sat alone, and said, I wasn't the smartest. I wasn't the loudest. I wasn't anyone's favorite. But I listened, and then I spoke, and the world listened back. So if you feel unseen, unheard, underestimated, remember this. You don't need perfect shoes to take your first step. You don't need a spotlight to shine. You don't need permission to dream. You just need the courage to start. Because somewhere out there, there's a little girl sketching hope on cardboard. And one day, she'll change the world. Just like Callie Rae.